going on?
Hey Matt, how you doing?
Good, good.
I'm glad to talk to you. Like I said in the text, I got a list of questions here for you.
Sure, sure. Give me one
Uh,
second. Just give me 1 minute.
all
It's
right.
Bill, right?
Yes.
All right. Turn this down. I'm addicted to those crime shows now, or the true crimes.
Oh, so am
Gee,
I.
Jesus Christ, that's all it's on. So I know everybody's pretty much into it, right? But I'm like, dude, I never watched Dateline ever in my entire life. You know how long Dateline's been around for?
Uh,
30 years, dude. Over, I think, 30 years. 30
wow.
fucking years, dude. I've never watched Dateline in my life. Next thing you know, they call me. I don't know when it was. It was after I got released, and they're like, "We want to do an episode on you." I'm like, "All right." And so I started watching Datelines, and I just can't stop watching this shit now. It's like the most interesting thing on TV. All right, Bill. Yeah, I'm all set.
But yeah, basically what I want to do here is you see my YouTube channel. So basically,
Yep.
I want to do like a cross platform with this, on YouTube and on a podcast. So basically, I wanted to start off. I want you just to tell me a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up? Where are you from?
Utica, New York.
What's that?
Central Utica. Yeah, I just ate some candy. Um. So what you want to do is you want to what we're doing right now is just like a preliminary questionnaire. So you can
Yeah, I
kind of
want to
get to
get
know
to
me.
know you. I mean,
But eventually, you want to do an interview on some sort of Zoom or whatever, or maybe Dart Stream or whatever, and do it that way.
eventually, yes.
Okay. All right. Cool. So this is no big deal. Um, Utica, New York, which is central New York, is where I was born, and I grew up to, till I graduated college. Then I got a job at an Indian reservation as a as a dealer in the casino industry. It was the first one. I think it was the first. Yeah, Turning Stone was the first one in New York, and I just happened to live by it. It's in New York, which is like a couple towns over. So I did a year at the casino. Um, that all you want to know about my childhood? I don't know.
It don't matter, man. I'm just trying to
Ended
get
up
to know
going
you.
to.
Whatever you're willing to offer up, that's cool.
I got years experience as a dealer at the Turning Stone in New York, and then a bunch of us moved to Vegas. Man, we were young kids, 21, 22. We all moved out to Vegas as soon as we got enough experience, and then I was out in Vegas for 30 years. Um, had some educational problems with my son Joey, who was a teenager, and my dad was living in Columbus. Wow. My dad moved to Columbus. I don't know, maybe early 90s, maybe even late 80s, but definitely early 90s. So I would go see him. I'd go visit. So I knew Columbus. He lived in Worthington, so I knew the area. My dad's like, "Well, move. Move out here, and we'll get him straightened out at school." I'm like, "Yeah, I have money. I've been in the casino industry forever, and they just opened up a casino there too, the Hollywood, right?"
Yeah.
So I knew I could get a job. So we moved out. I was sick of Vegas anyway. It gets old out. Vegas gets old. We moved out to Worthington. Worthington with my dad for a while. And right when I got there, I went on Plenty of Fish because I was doing the Plenty of Fish thing in Vegas, which is a little different. Being on Plenty of Fish in Vegas than Plenty of Fish in Worthington, Ohio. Um, I met Emily as soon as I got there. And we met each other. We hit it off. And I don't know, within 3-4 years, we were married.
Describe how you first met Emily and what was that experience like? What was the first time you met her?
I wrote a book. I don't know if you know that. It's
No.
called it's self-published on Amazon.
Oh, yeah, I know about that one.
Yeah, it's in the book. I describe it. It's meeting her. It was we fell for each other. Like I don't think I've ever fallen for someone as quickly as I did with Emily. We just connected right away. I'm a strange character. I'm kind of a metalhead. Kind of a little bit dark. She used to say I was feral, which is whatever. And her crowd was kind of proper. You know what I mean? So she was kind of like, "Hey, here's a dude, single, got a kid," and she was single, had no kids, and she had a great job. We just we like music. That's basically what we connected on was music. I'm a musician. I love music. She couldn't carry a tune, but she definitely loved music. So that's what we did. We talked about music and we went to music venues and watched music, listened to music for the most part. So we hit it off right away.
Did you propose to her?
Yeah, that's in the book too. It's
I don't want to read your book, man. That's why I'm asking you questions. If you don't want to answer questions, that's cool. We can we can end the interview now. And I'm not trying to be rude. It's just like it's you're either trying to avoid my questions or you're just trying to get me to read your book.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to appear that I'm selling anything. I've been doing this for a while. You know what I mean?
I understand. I understand that, and I understand that these are going to be a lot of the questions that you.
Just when I tell you, I'm not afraid of anything you're going to ask me. When you tell the truth, when you're telling the truth all the time, you never have anything to worry about. So that's all I do. It's really, really easy. There's nothing you're going to say to me that's going to trip me up. Because whatever you
I'm not trying to trip you up. I'm just trying to get you to talk to me. That way I can actually have something to work with here.
All right. Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
If you don't want to talk, that's cool.
No, I'm fine. What do you want to know?
All right. Who was all at your wedding?
Emily and I eloped.
Really?
Delaware County Courthouse. Yep.
Was that both your guys' decision to do that?
To elope, yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
A lot of people do that.
Her second marriage, my second marriage, yeah. So
yeah.
We eloped.
Did Emily like to listen to music when she takes walks?
No.
She didn't like to listen to music when she takes walks?
I think when we would walk together, she didn't.
Yes. Now, how often would you...
She might have when I wasn't around. But.
Yeah. How often would you and Emily go for walks to forage and things?
Well, it was... you could do it in the winter. So that was kind of a bummer during the winter. We got kind of stuck inside. We tried it once. That was one of the first things that I was like, hey, what do you like to do? She's like, well, I love to take walks in the woods. I met her in October. So it was late into October. So it was already starting to get cold. It might have even been November by then. So she's like, come on, let's go do it. And bro, I never took a walk in the woods. Maybe when I was a kid with my dog, or as kids run around the woods and everything. But I never, as an adult, went for a walk. And she introduced me to this thing. Yeah, we tried to do it then. It was too cold. So we had to wait for the winter. And then once the spring came, she introduced me to this thing where she would just walk in the woods. And we would, a couple times a week for sure. It would be just something that you would do. Like, hey, she'd get off of work, meet me at this park here. And we'd meet up. Or she'd come home. What are we going to do tonight? Well, let's go for a walk. It was a thing that you would do. Like anything else, play pool, go to a bar, watch movies. It was the thing. Hey, let's take a walk. So.
Okay. Before we continue, man, I just want to say to you, I did tell you in the text that I'm not looking at you as somebody who done something and got away with it. I don't see any evidence that points to you. I'm just trying to get out the whole story. And as of right now, you're the only one that's willing to talk to me. Her side or the prosecution side has not been willing to talk to me. So I'm just trying to get the whole story here. So I'm not out to make you look like you've done something and got away with it, all right?
Okay.
I just want to let you know that. I know all my questions are questions that you've dealt with before. I'm just trying to get you and hear you, okay? That's all I'm trying to do here.
Sounds good.
So, with that being said, how did you and Emily spend Emily's birthday, May 24th?
We had, I don't know how far back you want to go. We were health nuts. We started getting any kind of like toxins out of our lives, plastics, and whatever, carpet. We took the carpets out. We were doing this health kick thing. We really got into it. One of them was to stop drinking tap water. We started filtering tap water. And the filters get expensive, plus they're plastic, and she was definitely concerned about the environment. So I talked to my stepfather, who's a health nut, and he told me that that I should find a spring. That there's springs all over the place. You just go online, you find one, and start collecting spring water and drink that. So I went online a few days before her birthday, found the spring that just happened to be about an hour and a half away, or 20 minutes, in Butchtoll. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And there's a spring there. I told her about it, and she's like, "Yeah, let's get down there." And it was our first time that day. That's on her birthday, 24th. She's like, for my birthday, I want to take that ride down to Butchtoll and collect spring water. I was like, great. We had a bunch of bottles because we were buying bottled water from Whole Foods. So we had a bunch of glass. We weren't doing plastics either. So it was all glass bottles. It's windy. And so we drove down, took about an hour and a half. Great, beautiful day. It was early. We got up early and went down. It was that was a Sunday. We found it on our GPS, and it was this. I don't know. Do you know the area at all, Phil?
No, I do not.
It's a neat little town. It's just this little tiny town out in the middle of Ohio. It's really nice, and it's got a spring, like an aquifer or some sort of stone thing with pipes coming out of the side of the hill, and there's just water flowing out of it into this aquifer. And what you do is people just go, you pull up, fill up your bottles, and off you go. It's spring water. So we found our spring. It was great. We're going to add that into our regimen of trying to stay healthy. We stopped on the way back. There's a rest stop. There's a road between Butchtoll and Columbus. I think it's 33. I'm guessing, but it's a nice road. Lots of cops, so don't be speeding. But we stopped at a rest stop and we had a picnic. Just her and I. We had made a salad with forage greens that we like to forage. I don't know if you know anything about foraging.
Yeah.
But, we stopped and we were delighted to see that they didn't treat their lawns at this particular rest stop. So there was plantains all over the place, which are a form of one of our favorite greens. So we ate the greens we collected right there because I had extra vinaigrette. It was just a real nice, pleasant day. Just her and I walking around. We walked the grounds a little bit because it was a real nice rest area. Got back in the car, drove back to Westerville, and on the way there, I think we decided to go to my father's. I don't know if because it's been so long. I was certain for a long time that we went to my dad's before we went to Butchtoll, but I guess we went to Butchtoll, and then we went to my dad's. So says the GPS on my phone. So that's that story. We stopped at my dad's in Worthington. He let my sister, who's a very active lady, tiller his entire backyard and turn it into this garden. And she'd been doing it for years, and she took off. And my dad said, if you and Emily want to start doing it, you can. So we had this garden we were taking care of, and it was great. It was really, Emily knew all about that shit. I didn't know anything about it. I'm a Vegas guy. I never had a garden before. Besides when I was a kid, my parents and shit. So we had that going on. We stopped there. We spent the afternoon. She butterflied in the garden. She would pick, I think by May you could pick stuff or whatever she was doing. I was fixing a drainage pipe. And I had to dig a hole underneath to try to cut out a section of it and fix that leaky drainage pipe. I think we were there till about 3 or 4. I'm not sure about the times anymore. My dad had a friend over. He played guitar. His friend and his wife came over. My dad and his friend played guitar on the back. Well, we tinkered around the garden. We left at 3, went home. As we were going home, Emily's like, I want to go downtown for my birthday, have some drinks. I think it just opened back up. COVID shutdowns were in effect. I think that a few bars downtown said, hey, we're going to open up. So she knew about that. And also Westerville had this thing called the Field of Flags. It was a Memorial Day, actually, that weekend. So we went home, got dressed real quick, cleaned up. We were dirty from the day. We on some clothes, went to the Field of Flags, took some pictures. They're on my phone. We went to uptown Westerville for drinks. There wasn't anybody really out. I mean, we went to Coldplay, which was the first restaurant, and there were some kids there, young people, hung out with them for a little bit, had some drinks. They took off, went down to a place called Jimmy G's. We finished up. Emily and I finished up at Coldplay. She's like, "Hey, I want to go hang out with those kids." I said, "Yeah, they were fun." So we went down to Jimmy G's, had some drinks there. We were walking back to our car, which was parked behind Coldplay, and you walk right past the Bag of Nails. And we stopped in there. And I ordered some food, had some drinks. There wasn't anybody in there. It was not your normal Memorial Day weekend in Uptown Westerville. There just wasn't anybody out there.
Yeah, because of COVID.
Yeah, it was dead. So we were looking to get out, boy, because that's oof. So I was still light out. I remember walking across the street, getting in the car. It was, I think, not even 7 o'clock. John Kramer, our neighbor from across the street, said he saw us between 7 and 8 o'clock coming home on that evening, on Sunday evening. He said 7 and 8. You'd have to really pay attention to my case when things get really weird in here, because they try to put a case on me. My GPS had me at my house at 7. So when John Kramer says he saw us somewhere between 7 and 8, he saw us at 7 o'clock come home. He lives right across the street. You'd always see it. So it's no big deal. But they needed it to be for their timeline to work in their head. And that's really complicated, and I would have to explain that to you. But we got home at 7. We hung out. I talked to my buddy Brian on the phone for a half an hour. I don't even remember talking to Brian. Neither does he, but apparently I did. That's what the phone records say.
Had you been drinking that night?
Our phone stopped working about 9:30. We went to bed. And that's the 24th.
So that night, you woke up at 1 o'clock, around 1 o'clock, went to the bathroom, and you went and you slept in the spare room not to wake up Emily.
Yeah, we called the spare room Joey's room.
Yes.
Joey had committed suicide 9 months prior, so his room became the spare room. So I call it Joey's room. Yeah, I would get up in the middle of the night because I have prostate. I get up once a night, pretty much. And I don't go back in. I wouldn't go back into the bedroom because Emily was very particular when it came to sleep. And so I would just go in Joey's room and lie on the couch and tinker around on my phone and get back to sleep that way. It was just a regular thing. We did it every night. She didn't have a problem with it. She didn't want me to come back in. Sometimes I would get up, and because I'm tired, I'm sleeping, and I go up, so I got to go to the bathroom. Sometimes I would leave my cell phone in there. And Emily liked to shut the door. So if I left that cell phone in there and I went to the bathroom, I'm like, oh shit, what am I going to do now? I don't have a cell phone, right? I couldn't go back in and get it. That's how particular she was. She would get very angry if I broke the rules. So I went to bed, yeah. That's exactly what happened. I went to, hey, what's up? How you doing? Sorry, Bill.
What's
up? That was that. I got up. I remember looking at the clock. I told him, I said, hey, I looked at the clock. It was before 1. It was at 12 something. I don't know exactly when, but I remember the clock saying 12. And it was my routine. I would get up. As I'm going to the bathroom, I would look at the clock. And that would determine whether I would take a sleeping pill or not. Because if it was too close to the morning, if it was like 4 or 5 in the morning, I wouldn't take it because I wouldn't need it. But it was 12 something. So I remember seeing that distinctly. I don't remember taking a sleeping pill or not, but I probably did. Because it was so early, but I don't remember taking the pill or not. But I went to the bathroom like every night, and went to Joey's room, and hopped on the couch and started flipping through my phone. So it was a little bit before 1 o'clock, but they're saying it was sometime after 1 o'clock. The phone records I don't think they're perfect. I don't think that your position is perfect and the number of steps are perfect. And I don't think some of the times are off. I'm not sure, but.
Why do you say that? Because I've been watching the trial. I mean, I know what you're talking about, the phone record-wise, because they say that she was texting friends between 1 and 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, they said that I began texting on my phone after 12 at night, and it's just not so. I was on my phone well before 1. I said that wrong. Let me say it. They said, yeah, I think I said it right. They said that I was on the phone. That I was on my phone after 1 o'clock.
Yes.
That's when I must have woken up. I woke up before that. It was before 1 o'clock. I distinctly remember the clock being 12 something. And unless it was 12:59 and then I go take a piss and then I'm in Joey's room, on my phone, then it would be after 1 o'clock. It wouldn't even be after 1 o'clock, maybe a minute or two. They're saying that it was like 1:30 that I woke up. That's what they say in their final argument. Well, they're wrong. So they got a lot of things wrong, but I'm never going to let them say something that's not true. So that's one of the things they had wrong. And is it because of the phone diagnostics? I'm not sure, but for whatever reason, they had that wrong. So, but it's not like off by a day or anything. It's just, or 20 minutes or whatever, half an hour.
Well, maybe that's why they refused to talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, they fucked the case up so bad. I review my trial every week with some people that do that sort of thing. They review trials. And I wrote my book. I studied it. I was sitting right there for it. They fucked everything all up. Westfield Police Department, they don't have any murder police there. There's no murder. And they gave it to a rookie cop. And it's not just him, it's his boss too. All the cops in Westfield, they have no fucking clue what they're doing.
So when you woke up May 25th, walk me through that.
I woke up,
at 10 a.m. Around 10 a.m. You say?
Oh yeah, the sleeping pill I would take would be an Ambien, and I don't know if you've ever taken Ambien. And I was struggling with sleep because of my depression over my son. I was on Ambien. I wouldn't abuse it, but I was definitely, if I woke up at some time and I just can't fall asleep, I would take an Ambien, and it would knock me right out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't really know when. I don't know when I fell asleep. I don't fucking know. I don't know. At some point, I didn't fall asleep for the longest. I was on my phone until like 4:30, and then I might have fell asleep for a little while, and then I woke back up. On Ambien, you don't really know because you're not paying attention. So, but I do know that I didn't fall asleep right away. I was on my phone for quite some time.
Yeah.
Hours. At 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I might have fell asleep at 4:30. I think they said. All of a sudden, there's nothing going on. And then even if you're not using your phone, I might have YouTube going, and it might say I was, like on the phone, that the phone was active.
Yeah.
So it's real sketchy about like the times. It was just another night, dude, for me. I didn't pay attention. But if you go by the phone diagnostics, it's they say that I was up on my phone all night, all in the early morning, all the way up into the morning. So I'm not sure to give you a definitive time of when I woke up. I have no idea.
Yeah,
it's going to be. There was a phone call made. Do you have the phone diagnostics? Do you have them?
Not yet. I've been trying to get those. I got a lot of things coming in, so.
Yeah, it's kind of. I think I made a text. I had a text conversation with my stepfather at like 8:30, maybe 9. So I guess I was awake then.
What time did you search for Emily's phone?
I never searched for her phone.
You didn't use the iPhone app?
Yeah. I was just trying to find out where she was.
Yeah. When did you use that?
I don't know. I think it was sometime in the afternoon, maybe at noon, 11, 12, 1. I'm not sure. Could have been when I first got up. I'm not sure. That was never made that clear to me. The only reason they had a problem with it was that they said that no one in their right mind would use that app if they knew that they were in the condo. If they knew that they were there in the condo with them, why would they text someone and use a Find a Phone app on someone they know that's home? Everyone uses their fucking text people that are in the house with them. It's just weak ass circumstantial bullshit. So that's when did I use the Find a Phone? I don't know. It was at some point, probably late morning, early afternoon. Trying to find out where she was.
Oh yeah, I understand. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, and they're making a big deal out of it because they, like I said, that who uses their Find a Phone if you know she's there? Like, why wouldn't she be there, right? I mean, you just saw the phone. Oh, that's what it was. I'm sorry. It's been a long time since I've done this. I got up at some point and I told them I saw her phone. I saw her keys. I saw everything. I think that was about 11. And I was like, hey, well, here's her stuff. She's just outside somewhere. And I go back into Joey's room and I hop back on the couch. And at some point, I'm like, well, where is she? So I'm using my Find a Phone, right? Well, why would you use your Find a Phone if you've already seen her phone, right? You've already been out there and you've seen that her phone's there. It hasn't moved. Well, how the fuck did I notice that it didn't move yet? She could have been in and out of the house 6 times. between the time I saw her phone the first time and when I used to find a phone the second time. You know what I mean? You understand that?
Yeah. Perfect.
They try to weave a real fucking weak story together. It's I don't know if you do a lot of these cases, a lot of these trials, but it's the weakest circumstantial evidence you'll ever hear for a murder trial.
Oh,
that they
trust
were
me, yes.
100% certain I was guilty of.
I 100% agree with you on that. So my next question is so what did you do during that day up until the time that you called Celeste?
I was flipping through my phone, watching YouTube videos, doing your thing, just sitting there waiting for her to come back from wherever she went. At some point, it got to be weird. Like, we were supposed to go to a picnic that day, and she was looking forward to it, and so was I. She doesn't flake on things, so I was like, hey, where are you? What's going on here? I started to look for her at some point. I posted on Facebook, her Facebook. When I saw her phone the second time, it was like, whoa, that means that she hasn't been in here and she hasn't gotten her phone, and that it's been way too long for that. Where is she? She was out in the neighborhood. So her car's here, so she hasn't left in her car. She might have left for a walk, but she would have went back. I mean, it'd been hours by then. And I'm like, where are you gonna go? Where are you? Usually you go for an hour, maybe at the most for a walk, right? Hour and a half. She hadn't been back because her phone was still there. And that was when things got weird. And that's when I started to look for her. So I took her phone and I started going through that, trying to find clues to find out where she was. I wasn't panicked or anything. It's just because Emily was so put together and she was so responsible. But I went on her Facebook and I posted a message that I don't think is there anymore. I don't know. I never looked into it. But they said I wasn't looking for her. That was part of their evidence against me, that I wasn't looking for Emily. That I was just went about my day like nothing. I immediately started searching for her once I saw that phone there the second time. I'm like, this is too weird. She should be back by now from wherever she went. So I posted on her Facebook, hey, I'm looking for Emily. She's missing. I don't know where she is. Get back to me. Tell me if anybody knows where she is. And I contacted the guy that was having the picnic. I didn't know who he was, but I recognized his picture from something. I don't know how I did it, but it was on her phone. I didn't know who he was, but hey, this is man. I'm Emily's husband. Is she there? I thought maybe she went over there, and she was, because I slept in or whatever. She kind of got bitchy at times, you know. So, and wasn't something that she wouldn't do. She got mad at me. Was just go to the party without me. But he said no, he hadn't seen her. So I called my dad, probably just neighbors. I had cousins around the corner. He's trying to look for her. So where the fuck is she? You know? And I sat there waiting for her to come home, putzing around, you know.
So when the first police officer showed up to your house, Robert Hollis or whatever his name is.
Yeah, it's Hollis. Very good.
Did you think that Emily was suicidal at that time?
Yeah, I knew she was suicidal. Sure, absolutely.
So what did you say to Robert Hollis at that time?
What did I say to him?
Yeah. What did you say to him?
Well, he got there and he does the typical thing. Hey, does she have mental problems? And I said no. I did not. She isn't any more crazy than anybody else. She's fine. I'm just trying to stay positive. Suicide, sure. It was definitely in my head that she could. But I mean, when you deal with someone that's suicidal, you learn to live a certain way of life, and it's not letting that creep into your day-to-day life, because it would drive you crazy. Every time they leave, every time they go anywhere, they might not be coming back. You can't live like that. So you just kind of like put it on the back burner and hope for the best. I don't know any other way to say it. You just try to make things as positive as you can. Always remain positive. Suicide, I just left it out of the equation. Because when you do mention suicide to the authorities, you're just giving away their rights. They don't have any rights after you say that. They come and get you and put you in those rooms. So I left that out of the, hey, is she suicidal? I'm like, no, she's okay. You know, she's fine. So let's just fucking find out where she went. Leave that out. As me and Hollis are walking around, things are starting to, it's marinating in my head. Hey man, she could be out there somewhere. She could have done it. You know what I mean? So maybe you should say something. So in the body cam footage, I bring it up. It's probably an hour into it, and I'm like, man, suicide, dude. I'm talking to the cop. Him and I are brainstorming, trying to figure out what my wife is. I'm like, suicide, dude. I don't know. My son committed suicide, 9 months ago. So we're depressed. We're dealing with the suicide of her stepson and my son. Her, where is she? And I brought it into the equation, and what they did is they used that as if I'm trying to dictate the narrative. Grubbs, the lead detective, moron number one, I call him, he went on Prime Crime, which is on the Law and Crime Network, and he said, and this is after trial, that they never brought up suicide to me. They never asked me if she was suicidal. And all of a sudden, an hour into the investigation, I'm just coming up with a suicide theory out of nowhere. He's lying. He knows they did. I just didn't say anything when they first said it to me. I let an hour go by and started thinking about it, and then I bring it up. He's saying this after trial. I don't know if you know how fucking, you know what I mean? I don't even know if that's fucking legal, but on national television, he's telling everybody that that's me lying, that I'm trying to dictate the narrative. He knows that they brought up, that's the first thing cops do in a missing persons case. Are they suicidal?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
cops manipulate shit. What's up over there? Go ahead, Bill. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So where was the first place that you personally went out and looked for Emily?
Physically look for Emily, like
yes.
On the ground?
Yes.
No, I don't remember. I don't think I ever left the condo. I just stayed at the condo because I wanted to be there when she got back. Oh yeah, that's right. Tuesday, Grubbs and Peachy, the two lead detectives, they came out to me. This is the second day. This is the day after Monday when I called her in. So this is the 26th. They come up to me and they're like, hey, we heard Emily was foraging in a certain spot up by the bridge, up by the bridge that goes over County Line Road, the bike bridge. Can you take us there? I'm like, sure. Why do you want to go there? I mean, she would have been, if she's there, she would have been found. I mean, where's there to go? It's like a really open area. It's just it's a little part of right by this main street, and there's a bridge that goes over it. It's literally 200 yards from my house, maybe 250 yards. It's right down the fucking street. You can walk there in fucking 3 minutes. I'm like, why are we going to go there? It's kind of silly. I think everybody already looked there. I mean, if she was on one of her walks and she was up there, I mean, someone would have saw her. They're like, no, they're insistent. No, we want you to bring us up there. So I did. I hopped in the car. They drove up there, parked on the side of the road. We got out. We walked around where Emily had found some wood sorrel, which was coming out of the side of the bridge, which is another forage green. And so she on her walks, as she's walking by, she would grab the wood sorrel. That's where she'd been foraging. She was telling everybody about it. She was telling me about it. We were eating it at home. And so I brought him up there, and I'm up there with him, and I'm like, well, there's the wood sorrel. This is the bridge. This is the spot. And I mean, she's obviously not here. There's a patch of woods. There's a small wooded area right there, like right next to it. And I looked at it, and I'm like, guys, I would hate to think that she would be in there. God forbid, guys. Are you guys going to go in there and look? And they're like, yeah, we'll check it out. We'll make sure. I'm like, great. And I'm like, do you want to go some other places while we're out? I mean, there's all these other places that she goes to. Do you want me to take you to them? And they're like, Grubbs goes, no, that's all right. We just want this one place. I'm like, all right, man. And I walked back to the condo. I guess that would be the first time that I looked for her.
I think it's funny.
Physically looked for her.
I think it's funny that they searched all the wooded areas except for the one wooded area.
You can't make it up.
Where she was found.
Why would they want me to go to the one spot that they find her at, and they don't want to find, and no other spots? She had 30, 40 different places you could have went looking for her if you got wooded areas like that. They didn't want anything to do with it, bro.
But do you see what I'm saying here?
Yes.
They looked at every area, east, west, or north, west, south, but they didn't go to the east woods.
That's right.
That's It's weird. Okay, so have you ever been in trouble with law enforcement before Emily went missing?
Huh? I got what did I get? I got a disorderly conduct when I was 19. It was supposed to one of those ones that if you do your community service, they just get rid of it. But apparently they didn't get rid of it.
Anything more recent than that?
It pops up on my. I was arrested for getting in a fight with my wife in Vegas. I don't know when it was. I think it was 2000 maybe, 1999, 2000 in that time. 20 years before.
Yeah.
I got a DV, a domestic violence.
So you've never had any run-ins with Detective Grubbs before this case?
No.
And the reason why I ask this is I know that he specifically volunteered for Emily's missing person case.
Yeah, say that again.
He personally volunteered for her case?
She asked for it.
Yeah. So that's why I'm asking if you ever had any contact with him before.
The only thing that I would, any possible connection that he would have or knowledge of me is that Joey committed suicide in Westerville and they found him. So I'm sure that, I mean, it's a very small department and there's probably not a ton of suicides. And probably my name was associated with my son's suicide, being the father. And I was the one they notified and I was down at that department. So maybe that's the only any interaction I've ever had with him.
How did you feel? How did you feel when Emily was found? How did that make you personally feel?
That was 4 months later. I was prepared for it, that they were going to find her dead somewhere. You know, that it was 4 months. We didn't have any clue where she was. The fact that they found her so close to the house and all the pieces of the puzzle fell together. I mean, we didn't know. It was just a mystery. It was like she disappeared in the thin fucking air, bro. It was like, where the fuck did she go? Westerville's a very dense suburb. I mean, and someone saw her between 9 and 10 on Monday morning. Where's she gonna walk? The dogs searched around. I was told that those dogs can smell people in trunks from 3 miles away. That's what I was told. So I'm like, well, she's not around here anywhere. You know what I mean? No one thought she was around there. Nobody thought that she was around there. Dude, the people that found her a couple days prior to that, they called Grubbs and they're like, "Hey, we want to let you know we're citizens of Westerville, and what we're doing is we're looking for Emily Noble. A couple days a week, we're walking around looking for her. And we just wanted to let you know." And you know what Grubbs says to them? Grubbs says, "Don't be afraid to look where we've already searched." So where do they go? The first place that they searched, and you know where she was? Right fucking there. Do you know why those girls went in there? There's nobody in a fucking zillion years that would have thought that she was where she was. And she was so close to the condo, and it's the first place you would go. You know what I mean? It's like right there. And I fucking took them there. And they told everybody the dog searched, cadaver dogs searched the area. Nobody thought that she was in there. Those women got on their hands and knees and played to get to where Emily was. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
They told them where she was, and they fucking, because they knew she was there. Why the fuck else would them broads do that? Why the fuck else would they go to where they went and they find her where they found her and the way they found her? And you should have saw how nervous they were in court. They didn't want to be there. They wanted nothing to do with it. I can't prove any of that, bro. But you explained to me, out of all the places in Westerville, it's a fucking huge area. I mean, she could have been in Cincinnati. She could have been in fucking Canada. She could have been in Mexico. Who the fuck knows? But she definitely ain't within a dog sniffing perimeter of my home, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how long, how big that is. At least a mile.
So what kind of position was she found in?
She was in a partially suspended hanging position, which means she was on her knees, sitting on her ankles. She had her hands were gripped around her ankles, and there was a USB cord, an older USB cord, that was tied around her neck, and it was strung up to a branch of a evasive weed of some sort that was really strong, and so her neck was pulled up. Her arms were down by her side. You know what I mean? With her hands around her ankles, and she was sitting on her ankles. So that she was out there for 4 months, dude.
So when did you start feeling like you were a suspect?
They accused me of murder on Wednesday, which would have been the 27th. The 26th, I'm just that type of guy, you know, just remain positive. You're being paranoid. They would say things. I don't know if you know anything about police tactics. Because of this experience, I now know about police tactics. I know what they do. And they play a lot of psychological games on you. When they were doing it to me, it was literally on Tuesday. Monday, Hollis was fine. He was very friendly. He took the report. Everything was fine. Tuesday, when they come with the tracker dogs the first time, it was on. I just didn't pay attention to it. I was just like, he didn't say that. They were saying very odd things to me. Like they were being cops. That's what cops do. They would say things. And by Wednesday, the next day, they came with a search warrant, and it was on. I was like, whoa, what's this all about? Is Emily alive? Did you find her? And they wouldn't say anything, and they wouldn't fucking look at me. They're like, we need you to come down to the police department. Here, sign the search warrant. We're going to go through your house. And I'm like, hey, you could have went through my house without it. They were the day before. I was like, you need this fucking. They were like, hey, we need your phone. I was like, oh, shit, they need my phone. I hesitated for a second. I'm like, here's my phone. I gave them the pass keys to it, the pass key. And they took it. Off they went. And that was that. And then that Wednesday, they accused me of murder when they interrogated me. So when did I feel like I was a suspect? On Tuesday, but officially on Wednesday. So not even 48 hours after my wife went missing. They didn't know anything about Emily. They didn't know where she was. She could have just been some cookie broad. They had a boyfriend or a girlfriend that just took off for a little while. Within 24 hours, they had me on their radar, and they were building a case against me. They collected DNA on Tuesday. They collected hair on Tuesday within 24 hours. I always thought that there was like a certain amount of time before they could officially make you a missing person and start looking for you, start spending resources on finding a person. 99% of people that go missing come home. 99% of them end up coming back within whatever amount of time. Most cops, police stations, departments don't even start looking for people until a certain amount of time. They were all over. They were convinced it was murder Tuesday. Definitely Wednesday, because they told me. They said, you murdered your wife. They were in my face accusing me. With no evidence, dude. Zero. No evidence. No evidence of any foul play anywhere. So,
how many times were you interrogated by police?
One time. That's all it took. You don't go through something like that more than once.
Now, you mentioned, we're talking about the bloodhounds and stuff. Now, on May 26th, they had some bloodhounds, and the first ones led the detectives out of the house, led them straight north of the house, into the woods north of there, and to a driveway.
That's right.
Now, have you or Emily ever been to the home that driveway belongs to?
I can't say for her. I don't know about her, but I never did, and she never mentioned anything about knowing that guy. So.
Okay, because they say that the bloodhounds just stopped there.
Twice, 2 weeks apart.
Yeah, and the bloodhounds.
And 2 weeks later, they did it again, and it went right to the same house.
Bloodhounds. They're following the scent of the footsteps and skin cells that fall to the ground.
That's right.
So, was there anyone else that was looked at as a person of interest that you know of?
You'd have to look in the 30,000 pages of discovery, but as far as I know, what I've been told is no, they did not. They didn't even do background checks on that man's house or the people that live in that area where the tracker dogs took him.
Okay.
The lead detective didn't even interview him. Someone went over there, asked her if he knew her. He said no, and that was the end of it. They didn't even look into the man's background. I'm not saying anything about that dude. I don't know that dude. They didn't. Did they investigate him? No, they did not.
Yeah.
You know why?
Why is that?
Because it wasn't me.
I have sent out a request for the discovery, actually.
Well, I don't know. You can tell me how much it costs, but because I'm kind of like interested in maybe getting it just to have for like whatever. I'm going to do the media's still involved in me. You know what I mean? It'd be nice to have that discovery. I think it's going to be like $500-600, probably more, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, the one person that can help you with that's your lawyer, because she would know how to do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you could just call them, can't you? Can't you just call them and say, hey, I want the discovery for the Noble case?
Yep.
And then you got to pay per sheet. They rip you off, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, I know one. You might know this guy. His name. The name of his. The Sword and something else. He's a podcast, true crime podcast. He's pretty good. The Sword and something else. Scale and Sword.
No.
He did. He made a little piece on me, an hour, 2 hour, whatever he had, and he had information that I didn't even know was out there. He had to have gotten the discovery. He paid for it. He knew about a lot of stuff that wasn't even at trial. So I don't know how else he would know about it unless he had the discovery. So it's available.
Yeah. Well, it's out there. I'm slowly piecing everything together here. So, what day were you officially arrested?
Say that one more time.
What day were you officially arrested, and how'd that go down?
Again, don't hold this to me, but it was June 14th, I think. It was in June. I know that, of 2001.
Okay.
So it would have been 9 months later. 9 months after I called her in. So we got May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. Oh, hang on. Yeah, about 9 months. After I called her in, they came and arrested me.
How'd that make you feel?
Yeah, I was sitting there waiting for her death certificate so I could probate her will. You know what I mean? How'd it make me feel? I was innocent, bro. So I'm like, fuck, I wasn't really that scared. I said, this is going to work out, man. There's this the thing that when I got arrested, I'm like, they had to have planted evidence. There is no evidence. I knew that there wasn't any evidence. There's no evidence. Well, but maybe these dudes are capable of planning evidence. And that made me really scared. And I kept asking my lawyer every time I'd see him. I said, what do they got? He's like, nothing. I'm like, then why am I in here? Well, that's a whole nother subject. Lawyers, why you get arrested. Why the rationale behind someone's arrest, their guilt or their innocence is secondary. It's literally secondary. These guys just didn't have the balls. Grubs, they're not smart. They're not clever. And they just thought that this was these circumstantial cases, they work, right? I mean, you must know. They put these weak cases on people. Sometimes they get lucky and they get convictions. And you know what? They don't care if they get convictions or not. It's just the money that gets spent on a case. They needed to spend money. Westerville's got no crime. They've got nothing going on, and they get their allocation every month or every year. And if you don't spend the money, you're not going to get it. That's government, right? So they just had, if you get a body or a missing person, they literally it was a license for them to spend money. And that's all that was. It was just a big money grab. They don't care. They don't give a fuck. They don't even care if you're guilty or not. Don't care. We got enough to get a grand jury to indict you. Boom. They don't, innocence or guilt. They couldn't even prove that she was murdered, bro. I don't know if you've been through the entire thing, but
yes,
they didn't even prove that she was murdered.
So how did you keep yourself busy while you was in the county jail?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time, Bill.
How'd you keep yourself busy while you was in the county jail? I mean, did you study up on your case? Did you read law? I mean, what'd you do?
Cool dudes in jail, dude. There's some real interesting characters, and there's lives just wasted in there because there's some real talent. There's funny people, there's scary people. You know what I mean? There's just this wide, and they're all guilty, by the way. I don't know if you know that, but everybody in jail is guilty. The Delaware County Jail was I'll never forget it. It wasn't. I was in a violent offenders pod. They call it. It just means that whatever they consider you to be dangerous. So it depends on your charges. I was in there for 13 months. It's just the same thing day in day out. It's a bit nerve wracking. But I met some great guys, man. There were some really really neat people in there, and then there was they helped me out. They knew who I was. They eventually learned how I was, and there was this one dude. His name's Bub. That's his street name. A real OG, a real motherfucker, a real gangster. And he had the same lawyers as I had, the same two lawyers. I had Court Gatterdam and Diane Menaggi, and they're super high-profile defense attorneys from Columbus, and he had the same lawyers as I did. So we kind of talked about those guys. And played chess. I got up to about 500-600 sit-ups a day. The food was shit. The books were horrible. Commissary. I don't know if you know anything about jail. It's fucking, whatever. But I got good at chess again, so that was fun. And I started to draw again because I had pens and paper, and that's something I hadn't done since I was a kid. So I would draw every day for hours and hours, and I got my groove back on when it came to drawing, and that's what I'm doing now. So
I had to ask because everybody has a different jail story. I've been in jail myself, so we all have our stories.
It became my home, It was like my home for.
Yeah, I was in one.
I
was in one for 8 months, so I know there's a lot of stories involved.
8 months is a stretch, man. It's not a place you want to stay like sedentary. You want to keep moving as much as possible. You're in a dorm situation, or you were in a dorm jail, like a dorm room.
Yeah, pretty much, and sometimes isolation. A lot. I was put up for carrying a concealed weapon. So.
All right. Well, then you know what solitary's like.
Oh yes, unfortunately, and I know what sharing a one-man cell is like when they're so overcrowded and everything else.
Yeah, they would stuff those guys in there. Yeah, it was the Chomos, right? The Chomo pod.
Yeah.
Stay with those people. No, I'd never been in jail, and I know I was getting out. I was looking forward to my trial, bro. I just wanted to get out of there and get it on. Tell everybody what the shit in the media was bullshit, and I was innocent.
So, do you believe the autopsy report that was given by the state of Ohio?
I believe, just like my lawyer Diane Maggi, what she said, her opinion is that they gave Emily's remains to Montgomery, and Montgomery didn't have the know-how or the equipment to do such an extensive autopsy. If it was anything else, they just would have done an autopsy. She hung herself, and it all just would have been over. But this didn't happen. They needed someone to really look at the bones, right, to see if there's any kind of anything at all that would prove that she was harmed in some way. So, and Montgomery County didn't have what they needed to do something like that. So they gave the remains to OSU. OSU. The lady that did it, her name is Amanda Agnew, and she is not a forensic anthropologist. She is a bone doctor, and she's an academician. She's not like someone that does that sort of thing all the time. She had done it a few other times. She never testified at court, and she went in and did things that were not within the guidelines of if you are a board certified forensic anthropologist. They could have sent Emily's remains to a board certified forensic anthropologist, but they didn't. They decided to send it to where they sent her. These people were underqualified. She did things that were like I said, out of the realm of what she should have done. So when she made her report, she said she had found perimortem trauma to the ridge of the nose aperture. That's the type of injury that would have happened, the broken bone that would have happened at or around the time of death. And the amount of breakage, we're talking, they found a minuscule chip on the margin of the nose that she said was a chip. And that was it. And they said I beat my wife to death. She had antemortem trauma all around that particular trauma on the ridge of her nose aperture. That was antemortem trauma, which is old. Emily broke her nose. She was a kid, and there was when Agnew put that slide up so everybody could see, there was all these arrows that were pointing to the old injuries when she broke her nose when she was a kid. And the one injury that she found that she needed one of those scopes to go into, that injury there was one arrow. She said that is proof that there was some sort of injury to Emily's face at the time of death. It was so small, a little chip. She writes a report. They give it to the next expert. The expert reads the report, and you know how academians are. They didn't have her bones. They weren't able to do that kind of fucking analysis, trauma analysis. So what do? They just go with what the doctor before said. And they give it, that schmuck guy who was an expert, he analyzed it, said, yes, there's a trauma to her nose, because this lady before me said there was trauma to her nose, and we're all in on this together. We're going to give that to the coroner, and the coroner doesn't have a fucking clue, because he's a fucking pediatrician or a general practitioner that has no clue about forensic anthropology. He shouldn't even be a coroner, but he is, because they voted him in. He's probably someone's uncle or fucking cousin or something, who knows. And he says, okay, this is murder. The injuries to her face are as a result of a beating. So what you call that is garbage in, garbage out. Yes, I would say that that her autopsy was not credible in any way.
So
yeah.
So is the investigation into Emily's death closed?
Yes. They don't want anything to do with it.
What they call it?
Murder.
So
they don't have the integrity, Bill. They don't have the integrity that changed their mind. So they didn't when they found her, they knew that she committed suicide. It was obvious she committed suicide. What else would this be? That she either had problems, she was seeing a psychiatrist, was talking about all sorts of abuse, she was having problems, and she was telling her fucking psychiatrist or her counselor right around the time of her death in Miami. She was dealing with Joey, my stepson. She had problems. She had problems her whole life. They didn't want anything to do with it. They suppressed that evidence. They did the best to keep it out of the narrative. And they didn't, when they found her, they said, we need to make this a murder. So when they took her bones, they gave it to the coroner. The coroner said, there's nothing here. She hung herself. Well, so they gave those bones, they transferred to the Agnew lady at OSU, who goes in with a fucking microscope and finds a chip on the bridge of her nose aperture and said, that's a perimortem trauma. We have 4 board-certified forensic anthropologists, 4, that do that. She's not even a forensic anthropologist. God forbid board-certified, she's not. That say that those injuries don't exist. That chip to her, that little injury to the nose aperture doesn't exist.
So they closed the investigation, thinking it was murder and you're innocent.
They think I'm guilty. The Westfield Police Department thinks I'm guilty.
But it don't matter.
They know I'm innocent,
but it don't matter. You was found guilty, so shouldn't they? If they truly thought you were, if they truly thought she was murdered, shouldn't they have kept the case open after you were found not guilty?
Not if they think I did it. Why would you do that?
So the next 3 questions is going to be kind of rough. I'm gonna ask. Just give me yes or no answer or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Did you, in any way, hurt your wife, Emily Noble?
It's one of those questions. Yeah, I was like, I did a Dateline, right? And I'm watching these Datelines. I'm like, they say that every time to every person.
Got to.
Did you kill your wife? You know what I mean? Did you kill her? It's like they go through your whole hour, and at the end, it's like it's so cliche, right? It's
got to.
And I'm doing the Dateline, and I kind of got lost in my head because it was a long interview. And all of a sudden, he snuck it in there. It's Dennis Murphy, right? Murphy. He's like, "Did you kill your wife?" And I was like, "Whoa, there it is." And I'm like, I wanted to say something kind of clever. I wanted just to mix it up because it was, it's just kind of like, you just, no, man, I didn't kill my wife. I mean, I just want to answer it in a certain way. But when he said it, I just said, no, man, no. Why would I do that? I love my wife. And if I did, where's the fucking evidence? Show me the evidence. Who knows, right? Maybe I blacked out and I got possessed by a demon. You know what I mean? And this demon made me kill my wife and then put me back to bed, and I have no idea that I did it. Okay, that might be in the realm of possibility, but where's the fucking evidence? How does anybody get away with doing something like this? leaving zero physical evidence.
Let me ask you this.
No physical evidence.
Let me ask you this. Do you really think Emily would have copied your son's suicide and you used a USB cord and took herself out to the woods and copied your son's suicide?
She didn't copy him. Who told you that?
Didn't he use a USB cord?
No.
What did he use?
I think it was an extension cord.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Oh.
And he was Emily was a partially suspended hanging. Joey was a full suspended hanging.
But why would why would she do that and kill herself in almost the same manner as someone that she loved? Because she loved Joey.
Suicide is a very complicated. I've never been suicidal. I couldn't even imagine.
I have.
She was. Well, then maybe you could probably tell me.
That's why I'm asking you. Why would she go out and hang herself or do a partial hanging when your son, someone that she loved and was hurt over, why would she do that?
I don't see the. I mean, she knew she was going to kill herself. She was suicidal when I met her in 15. They leave clues. Suicidal people kind of. She would say things, and we would discuss things. After Joey's suicide, we talked about how he did it because I wasn't sure how he did it, and I didn't really want to talk about it. But she wanted to make sure, let me know that he didn't suffer, and she told me about this thing that they do, the way they do it. It's called a partially suspended hanging. What they do is they cut blood flow off to the brain, which renders them unconscious, and then the weight of their body cuts off the oxygen. So
yes, I understand exactly what you're talking about.
And she was telling me that to shield me from any kind of apprehension I had that Joey went bad. She told me how she was going to hang herself by telling me that. She had thought about it for a very long time, how she was going to do it, why she was going to do it, and just because Joey killed himself in that fashion, she had already decided how she was going to do it probably long before. Joey.
So she's already told you that. Why didn't you warn anybody about it?
She didn't tell me she was going to do it to herself. She was just telling me, like I said, that she wanted to ease my pain and let me know that Joey didn't pass over badly. And so she explained in graphic detail how people hang themselves in this partially suspended hanging. By her doing that, she's telling me that she put a ton of thought into it. And that's exactly how she did it. So I knew she knew. She was telling me, not directly telling me, but she's telling me how she was going to do it. So there's, under that understanding, that she had decided that she was going to do this thing probably when she was a kid, when the source of her real pain. And she wasn't going to change that just because Joey had hung himself. Why would that make any difference? Why would that change her plans? I don't see. Yeah, you're not the first person to say that. In some sort of accusation, it's like, why would she kill herself in the same way Joey killed
No, that ain't an accusation towards you.
Idea, bro.
Like I said in the very, very beginning of this, there is no actual proof that points in your direction. So I am not coming at you and accusing you of nothing. I'm asking just a simple question on how I'm seeing this as an outsider.
I gave you like an in-depth, truthful answer to that question.
I know you did, and I respect that.
That's what I'm saying. Emily knew that she was going to kill herself long before Joey, and she knew she was going to kill herself in this way that she described to me. And why are you telling me this, Emily? Well, I want you to know that Joey passed. His passing wasn't difficult. Was it odd that she was so knowledgeable or so informed about this partially suspended hanging? Yeah, I guess. Was it enough to make me go, hey, my wife's suicidal, come lock her up in a straight, put her away for a while, there might be something wrong with her? Emily and I didn't play ball with like contemporary society. We weren't one to be like, we weren't on board with like the medical industrial complex. We were kind of alternative thinking people. If you knew Emily in any way, shape, or form, you'd know that that the last thing that you would ever do as a real friend of hers was to call anybody and tell them that she was suicidal. in any way, shape, or form. Even if you knew and you're, oh my God, Emily's really sad. I don't know. I think I might. And then to call the fucking cops on her and tell them that she's suicidal, you wouldn't be her friend anymore. I'll tell you that. No, we didn't. There was calling the authorities and letting them know that I was suicidal or she was suicidal. It just wasn't in the cards. It wasn't that was never going to happen. It's the type of people we are, or were. Was the best word for that.
So tell me about your book and your YouTube channel.
The book is I'm not much of a writer. I never wrote anything before. So I just when I got out of jail, time was creeping up. It's been 2 years since it happened. I think your memory starts going. I knew I needed to write my story down, not to like as for a book, but just to write it down so that I could remember everything I needed to remember. So when I got out, I knew that's what I was going to do. So I wrote my story just as if I was sitting down talking to you. Not like I didn't try to make it look weird or be weird or try to rat people out or make people look a certain way. I'm just going to tell you my story, and so I just. It's a quick book. It's 180 pages. It's got big print. It's got pictures in it. And I just told my story about Emily and I, short time together. And it's in my case, excuse me. It's on Amazon. It's $10. The ebook's $10. No biggie.
Have you sold a lot of copies?
I was on Dateline, and they, how many people watch Dateline, and there I was, and they mentioned my book. You'd figure I would get some bumps, but it didn't really sell that much, a couple thousand. That's
good, anyways, for self-published. What about your YouTube channel? How's that going for you?
Yeah, that was something. It's like therapy for me. My YouTube station. I talk about my case with this guy from Wales. His name is Dylan. He runs a YouTube channel called Alternate Corner, and he reviews trials. And he took me on. We've had like 22 episodes so far, a couple hours each episode, and we just rewatch my trial. And if you're into trials at all, you're an upcoming lawyer, if you're a cop, or if you're just into that sort of thing, my trial and my case is like a caricature of real life. It literally it's like a weird, because they were so bad at cop. The police work was horrible. So you take all the horrible things they did and just be like, well, they all do this. They do the same thing every. Police aren't out of the box thinkers. They get trained. They're trained. They're like military. So they have this. My case is like each one of their mistakes is so like blatantly obvious. You can kind of, and it's the whole case. It's like every aspect, every fact is like, oh, okay. For other cases, they're much better at doing what they do, and it's very hard to see. And they have really super great lawyers, maybe, or their district attorneys are better. I mean, these people are just literally not smart at all. They didn't have any experience with what they were doing. They came in with this lawyer, Diane Menashe, who was, one of the best lawyers in the country, and she just rolled right over the top of them. So it's like if you want to see good lawyering, it's in there. And if you want to know about like the rationale behind law enforcement, what are they actually doing? What are they doing for us? What are they doing with our tax money? How much are they spending? Why do they think the way they think? Why are they looking? When a person goes missing, what are they doing? My case will tell you exactly what every missing person case in the entire country, what exactly they're all doing. It's just that my case is a caricature, so you can really notice them. You can really notice them doing what they do, police procedure. So it's a great case for certain people. And these guys that watch the trial with me, it's been I don't know how many months. Once a week we get together. We watch my trial. So I get to do this thing all over again. And things just become really super obvious if you watch it enough of it. The poor jurors go in and they have to figure everything out in such a short amount of time. They know that. So they're not playing straight pool with you. They come in, they inundate you with a bunch of fucking crap that doesn't mean anything. I have one of the people that are on a panel within this alternate or alternate corner is he's an ex-federal law enforcement. His name is Mighty Me. So I got an ex-cop on there, and I got this guy guy that does the trials. I got a couple other guys that come in. This other Dr. Hines comes in. He's a trial watcher, and we're just going over my trial. So yeah, it's I'm very intimate with all the details of my case. This is probably the fifth time I've been going through the trial. So. And you'd be surprised on how a different understanding you'll have if you watch something like that. It's as complicated as it is 5 times instead of just once. You're just gonna have a way better understanding.
Yeah.
Why they're saying what they're doing. So, yeah, my trial is it's like any other trial. But if you want to see like what's really going on, the reasons why people do what they do, you're gonna want to watch my trial. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And revealing. Very revealing of law enforcement, what they're up to. So yeah.
I spent the past couple of days watching some of your trials, so I ain't done with it yet. So I have been watching. It's interesting and boring at times.
Yeah, you're sitting there going, when are they going to bring up any evidence? It didn't appear like they were gonna. You're like, oh my God, they're bringing up another witness.
Well,
and they're filler witnesses. They didn't say anything.
Even with on the court documents that I got, there's no official evidence that they're putting in play, and like you said, a lot of them were filler witnesses that were talking about things that happened 2018 or 2017 and all this other stuff.
Yeah, they brought up that I got in a fight with my wife in 2000 or the year 2000, 20 years ago.
Yeah,
and that I'm a domestic abuser. That's a pattern of it's 20 years of this is 20 years apart. It's not a fucking pattern. There's nothing there. But they used it. They said it. You know, hey, he's a wife beater. He beat up his wife 20 years ago. Okay, that's evidence to you. I guess I got all the like. I don't know. Let me ask you this: what so far has been their like biggest piece of evidence that's been revealing to you whether I'm innocent or guilty? Is there been anything you're like, okay, that makes me think he's not guilty, or that makes me think he's guilty that you've seen so far?
I ain't seen nothing that has pointed to me as you being guilty. As far as being innocent,
oh my God, he's probably innocent.
As far as being innocent, I don't see any DNA evidence. I watched the body cam footage of your house.
They said that I was, when I saw Celeste walking up to the house, and I said, oh, there's Emily.
Yeah, you did say that in the video.
Because they look just alike. And I'm like, oh, no, that's not her. That's someone else. And I'm like, hey, that was it. Do you know how fucked up it would be if that really happened? If I did kill her, and then all of a sudden I think I saw her? You know what I mean? No, fuck. Oh my God! It's just their story was just so wild, man. It's just, you have to believe such crazy things. And they said, "Did you feel?" I'm quizzing you. I said when Hollis first comes up, I start describing my night or our day yesterday before. I mentioned to him that I mentioned our bed that we slept in as her bed, and I quickly switched it to our bed.
Yeah.
And they said that's evidence. Explain it to me. Why is that evidence?
Yeah, I don't know why it's evidence.
It doesn't fucking prove anything. But what they do, that I've learned from speaking to ex-law enforcement, is what they do is when they talk to you, one of the reasons why they want you to keep talking, why you're not supposed to say anything at all to them, is they're looking for inconsistency. They're looking for you to change your story. But literally, why do you do that? They don't really know. Trained, we need to find inconsistency. Whether we can bring it up at trial. I never explain to anybody why that means anything. But hey, here's an inconsistency. This is the kind of thing that gets people convicted. So that was an inconsistency that Matt said, hey, she went back to sleep in her bed. I mean our bed. Ooh, that's an inconsistency, right? I said her bed, and then I switched to our bed. 2 fucking milliseconds later, that's an inconsistency. I don't know if you know how humorous that is, how fucking incompetent it is. I'm sorry. But they fucking mention that in closing argument. You know how important closing argument is to a trial?
Yeah.
They use that in their closing argument as evidence that I killed my wife. That's how weak their case was. They didn't even know why. They were like, he switched it from her bed to our bed. Well, why did he do that? We don't know. All we know is it's evidence that he killed his wife. They're fucking stupid, Bill. They're fucking dumb. I didn't realize cops were. I've always been kind of told they're kind of dim-witted, but until this, and I'm convinced. You know who told me they were? My lawyer. I'd ask my lawyer, but like, why are they doing that? Why would they put the sister on the stand and have the sister say, no, my mother got along with him, I never heard any problems? Emily, when we talk on the phone, she never said that. They had any problems, and I knew she wasn't suicidal because when Joey died, I asked her before I left, I like killing. What? Oh, fuck. Does that mean that she's not suicidal? I don't know how. And I looked at my lawyer and I'm like, why would they do that? Why would they put her on the stand and have her say that? It makes it look like that she was suicidal, right? And my lawyer looked at me. I was so angry. At that point, it's all starting to fall into place that I've been set up. They don't care that I'm innocent. They know I'm innocent. And they're in it for money. It's all about money. And they fucking robbed me of my money. They took my wife's suicide and they used it to generate money for all the fucking FBI, OBI, all the coroners and cops and everybody else, the dogs and everybody, the coroner, everybody that fucking did anything for this case. And I had to spend every fucking nickel I had to defend myself against fucking retards. People that didn't even have a clue what they're fucking doing. They don't have a clue. And it's what I do every Saturday. Starting at 7:45. Pacific time. We go through my trial and we fucking sit around and we break their fucking balls because they're fucking that dumb. Because everything they say and do, this is the 5th time I'm going through my trial. It's like everything. I can tell you, this shit's funny, Bill. It's funny. They fucking the lead detective, he's in the box. He's testifying, and it's like evidence that there was a rocky marriage. Was that between this month, 9 months before her going missing? There was the first portion of the months. They would say love. They used the word love all the time. I love you. I can't wait to see my love you. All this lovey-dovey shit, right? And he counted the amount of times love was fucking mentioned, right? In this fucking 8 months before she went missing. In those 8 months, it was like 150 times. They're always telling each other love. And then the last month before she goes missing, how many times is the word love used? It's 0. That's evidence of a troubled marriage. Bill, because of COVID, there was at home fucking order by the governor. She worked for Emily worked for Medicaid. She started working for.
Yeah.
We didn't text at all anymore. There was no texting. We text every day, like 8 times. Every day while she was at work. On the weekends it would go away. Monday would come back. We'd start texting while she was at work. And all of a sudden, a month before she was missing, there's no more texting between them. There's no more use of the word love, is what he said, and that's evidence that a troubled marriage. That's not too difficult to understand. She started working from home. How fucking stupid are you? Are you fucking? What kind of investigator? Are you even a cop? My 12-year-old could have figured that out. And I'm sitting, the fact that I guess I'm bitter because I had to spend all my money.
How much did you spend altogether? Do you know?
Yeah, a lot. I'm still spending. They're still after me. Everything. I'm staying with a great friend because they're just the sweetest people in the world, and I got lucky. We kind of moving around, but I lost my house, I lost all my savings, and I got people after me. So, but you know what? I'm free. I'm talking to you right now. Venting my this is like therapy for me. So.
Who got the condo?
Her sister. I hope you're recording this. I don't think you're gonna put this on there. Name is, what was the name of the lawyer?
Oh God, I forgot his name. Lawyer. I got his name somewhere.
His name is the lawyer. I want to tell him that. Please let me look it up. Yeah, she was this guy was Emily's lawyer and Emily's parents' lawyer.
Yeah.
And Drew, get his name out there, dude. I'm telling you, this guy's a fucking dirtbag. Well, you gotta understand. Everybody told him that I was guilty. The police told him I was guilty. You know what I mean? So this is how this went. Emily's parents died, or mother died, she got the condo. She bought her sister and her brother out.
Yes.
So the condo became hers.
Yes.
She put TOD on the will, which is a transfer on death. That means it doesn't have to go through probate, right? Anything, it's just a transfer on death. So it's for probate issues, right? You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
She wrote it on the back of the fucking deed that it goes to her sister, Amy, who was living in Virginia. And it's the couple. I mean, maybe a year and a half later, she married me, and she went to her lawyer, the same lawyer that helped her with the real estate and the will of her mother and everything. Her parents' lawyer, Thomas Teneff.
Yeah.
Thomas Teneff. Hey, Tommy. So this is what this scumbag did. He fucking. She went to Tommy and said, "Hey, I got married. I want to leave everything to my husband." Okay. He wrote it up, gave it to her, no problem. Everything's fine. Anything ever happens to the family, all goes to Matt, and then if something happens to Matt, it goes to Joey. Good job. He didn't squash the TOD. And TOD supersede wills in Ohio.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm waiting. Find Emily. I'm sitting there waiting for the death certificate. I get legal paperwork in the mail while I'm waiting for my wife's remains and get this on with, that I need to move out of my house because I don't own it. Her sister does. And on the behest of Tommy Teneff. That's a conflict of interest right there. I don't know if you know anything about fucking. You can't write a will that has a guy that's the sole beneficiary of it. And then when the person dies and he's supposed to get the house, become the fucking lawyer of a person that sues the person, you know what I mean, that owns the home. But you know what? Ohio, I don't know why. You know Ohio, bro. It's a big club, and I ain't in it. So I got fucked by lawyers and fucking judges. Yeah. And they got the house. They got it on while I was in jail. And they shuffled paperwork around. I hired an attorney called, his name was Garth Cox. He's out of Columbus. Dude, you don't want to know what this guy makes an hour. You don't want to know how much. He was one of the best civil attorneys in Columbus. I had $1 million, bro. So I hired him. Here, man, fuck this guy. This is my house. Tell him to go fuck himself. You got it. We're going to go in. We're going to change case law. There's no way they're not going to let you have this is your home. It's obviously your wife and everything. To them, I was pop $50,000 into a pile of fucking leaves and lit it on fire. He ripped me off. He was in on it with the cops. Huh. They all knew. They all were told by Grubbs that I was guilty and that they had evidence. So these lawyers just started making maneuvers, bro. And when you're charged with murder, you don't have any rights. They just your life falls apart. So I got out, and by the time I got out after my trial, I went to one court hearing. I flew into Columbus. I went. I told them my grievance. I was like, "Come on, guys, you can't. Where's my home? Where's my stuff? Where is everything?" Nothing. But even the lawyers you hire, fuck you. You hire a lawyer. They all know each other. The defense attorneys and the prosecution in my case were intimately involved. You wouldn't think that, would you?
Huh.
And same with you would not. I'm telling you, these things get backroom deals. I mean, you think you're getting representation. They're representing themselves. They're not representing you. They're representing their fucking interests. I mean, even though you look at my attorney, my defense attorney, Diane Menasci, who's fantastic, right?
She's awesome.
Look, there's a very good chance that the only reason I got indicted by a grand jury was because of her. It's tough to get your head around, bro, but they're fucking lawyers. They're scumbags. Hey, we don't got any evidence on this guy. We don't have any evidence against this guy. We're not going to press charges against him. All of a sudden, this attorney shows up. Hey, you sure you don't want to press charges against this guy? He's worth $1 million. You want a piece of it? Charge him. Because guess what? If you don't charge him, you know what I get out of that $1 million? $0. You know what happens if you do charge him? I get it all. You understand? It's fucking slimy, dude. It's fucking dirty. And it's these civil attorneys. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. They get together. Well, how much is here? How much cash has he got? How much is his estate worth? Okay, we'll go in. We'll argue this. We'll argue that. My civil attorney, Garth Cox, robbed me of $50,000. Told me that I had a case to save my home. That there was case law. That we were going to change. That we were going to make wills supersede TODs. because TOD was made prior to the will. There's a conflict of interest there. You're going to win your case. That's absolutely not true. He just dragged me through court. I was paying him $5,000 a month to this guy, and then when I got arrested, I had to stop paying him, and my house got stolen.
Yeah.
There was no way in a million years that I was going to change case law for less than I mean, there were millions of dollars to change in Ohio that wills are circumsede TODs, or TODs are on equal grounds as wills. And I've heard this from other lawyers. I've been going through this forever. I keep talking to people. I did podcasts with this guy who does a thing called "The Long Story." It's just other lawyers. Because they thought I was going to be in prison for the rest of my life, bro. So they just started. You want to pay me? You want to start writing me $5,000 checks every month until you get arrested? Sure, go ahead, you fucking moron, right? So that's what I started doing because I thought I was in the right. Well, there's no. They're really sleazy people, dude. They lie for a living. That's what they do. Politicians, bro.
But you're free.
Sure what's that?
I said, but you're free.
Yeah. So. Yeah, man. It's I mean, look what's going on right now in politics, man. Everybody's fucking lying, dude. Everyone. Who's got any integrity anymore? I mean, look, cops lie. They lie to you. They want to lie. They're trained to lie. Grubs they're trained to lie. They lie to the media. They lie to their fellow officers. They lie to everybody. They're fucking lying. They're the devil people. Cops are fucking the worst, man. They're fucking bad people. Stephen Grubbs is a lizard person.
All right, man. I think that's about all I got for you right now. I appreciate you talking to me, man. I'm gonna let you go for the night.
Together, let me know.
And I'll send you the links and stuff when I get things done.
Yeah, I dig your style on your thing, man. It's kind of spooky. You know what I mean? It's neat. And I see you got a couple thousand views on a couple of those of your videos, man. It's a different way to look at things. It's neat. You got plenty going on in Ohio, that's for sure. You know what I'm saying? The weird place you live. So
I'll let you know when things pop up. All right.
All right, man. Good talking to you, bro.
You have a good evening, man.